Welcome to Kelly Martin.
Hello.
I'm so excited to have you here. I was just looking on my calendar, and I think it was almost exactly a year ago that I interviewed you. And so I'm super excited to hear all your updates. But first, for our new listeners, maybe that aren't acquainted with you, tell us all about yourself.
My name's Kelly Martin. I have been writing for about 10 years. I write ghost stories mainly. I have middle grade horror stories, kind of like if you like, Goosebumps and Are You Afraid of the Dark? I have those kinds of stories. I have young adults, horror stories about ghosts and houses and cool things like that. And I have a few adult horror books. Nothing too graphic. It's more of the ghost paranormal side.
Spooky horror, which can be
Spooky
scarier.
horror, yes.
That can be scarier sometimes because it's that element of the supernatural that anything can happen, right? Instead of just like, that a human can't jump through a wall, so at least there's not that fear.
Right.
But the ghost can, right?
Right. The ghost can do anything, and the ghost can pretend to be human in some cases, and you don't know who is the good guy and who is the bad guy, and it makes it really fun to write. I like writing when I don't know all the twists and turns that's happening, especially in the first draft. So they keep me on my toes, my little ghost stories do.
But so I'm guessing you don't plan everything out, every chapter, every scene before you're writing them then.
I don't, no. I do have a basic, I used to not have any kind of outlines at all. I just sat down and wrote, especially, first drafts, just got it all out. And then I would go back in the second draft and figure it all out. But now I at least have bullet points that I want to hit. And sometimes I hit them and sometimes they just go out the window, just depending on how the story goes. I don't really like knowing how a story I'm writing ends, because if I do, I get bored and I don't want to write it. It's almost like I'm watching it in my head like a movie, and I don't like knowing the ending. Some stories I do know the ending when I write them, but the ones that I write faster and just ready to get through the first draft and need to see how it ends, I usually don't know how the ending is going to be, which I think is really fun.
Yeah, that's the fun part for me too. Like when I know exactly what I'm about to write, I'm like, oh, this is boring. I already thought of it. Like the fun part is coming up with the storyline. The fun part is not typing it in your computer, right?
Right. I think of my first drafts as a really, really, really long outline. Then I have really weird rush. They're getting better, but when I first started, it would be like I would write like 20,000 words, decide to change something, but I wouldn't go back and change it. And I would just keep going from there and go on. So when I had to go back and change it, it was a mess, but it all worked out.
Yeah, I've only had one book I have surprises that I come up with in most of my books, but I've only had one where I had a major character flip. And
oh yeah.
So
those are fun.
It sounds like you may have a little bit more of those than I do.
They're fun to have. I love them. I don't think I could write thrillers. I love reading thrillers, but you know how I wanted to write thrillers, but you know how they're so like put together. You can tell that somebody spent a lot of time planning it out, and when this needs to happen, and when this clue needs to happen. I don't know if I could. And you have to have the ending before you start. I know a lot of thriller authors start with the ending and then they go back. I don't know if I could do that. It would be an interesting challenge. I might see if I could someday.
Yeah, that's where I am right now with my new book. Like I know the ending in my head, and I'm like, well, do I just write the ending first and then go back? Maybe I do. I don't know.
I've known some people that do that. They say they write the ending first to get that out, to get it out of their brain and on paper, and then they'll go back. There's one person, I can't remember who it was, that said they wrote their whole book backwards. Like they started like chapter 30, they wrote chapter 30, they wrote 29, 28, and they wrote it like that. So that would be interesting. I wonder how that would work out. I wonder if you would give too much information. I don't know. It'd be interesting. It would be really cool it'd be a cool experiment at the very least.
Yeah, I usually have my beginnings and my endings, at least in my head, and then I have to fill in like the ups and downs to get there.
Oh, the middles are so hard. Middles are so hard in books to write.
But that's when I find, like, when I'm under pressure and stress like that, that's when I can be most creative sometimes. So
Oh yeah, I have to have deadlines. I know some people don't like them, but I have to. I was telling Tia, who's my editor, I said I need to know when you want this book, because if you don't tell me when you need it, I won't get it done because I've got to have that deadline. And I got it done before then, but I was like, I need a deadline. I don't know why, it just fires off some creative things in my brain or something.
well, tell me specifics about the last year. What have you published? What are you working on?
I didn't write a whole lot in the past year, to be honest. Let's see. I put out The House That Fear Built. I think it was last October. Love that. I don't have anything to show. I just sold my last copy, actually. I didn't get some more. Love that book. It's about it's about a haunted house, of course. And it's like a town legend that if two people who love each other go into the haunted house, then one person will be possessed to kill the other person. So yeah, there's this Black Widow poltergeist in there. It's really cool. Her name's Doris Marie. She's terrible. She was so fun to write. I love her. Anyway, so there's this girl. They're in high school, and of course they dared each other to go in the house, and her best friend dies. They think her boyfriend did it. So to go back in the house, she's like, okay, nobody loves me. Obviously, I'm going to be fine. Little does she know that the person she goes in with actually does love her, and bad things happen. So that was fun. That was really fun to write. I still love that book. I look at it every once in a while, just to flip through, some of the pages. I really like those characters. And then in January, I had surgery. I had a hysterectomy, much needed, much love. Woo, fantastic. But then I had to take some time off. And then the end of school happened, and I was querying a book. And then I decided that I actually wanted to publish it myself, because I changed things around. I made it after Stranger Things came out in season 4, and I was like, I absolutely love this. And I found a cover that I absolutely loved, and it had an 80s vibe to it. And I was like, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So I changed the whole setting of the book. It's when it's Sally comes home, and I changed the whole time frame, and I think it made it cooler because there's no, the cool thing about 80s and early 90s, there's no cell phones. So that it takes it puts some extra attention in there, because you can't just call for help when you need it. So I changed that. That comes out next month, August the 4th. I love it. It has I think one of my most interesting twists. I don't know if that's what anybody else will think, but I love the ending. This is one book I knew the ending before I wrote it. I will say that. I didn't know how we were going to get there, but I knew the ending, and I wish I could talk about it, but obviously I can't. But yeah, it's a ghost story. And then I'm working on one right now that's going to come out in September, hopefully. And it's called Rock Never Dies. And it's a it's a musician and a cheerleader. Stranger Things, I guess, was influenced that a little bit. And it's very simple setup. She's driving home from a football game. There's a big rain. She gets in a wreck. He pulls up in his van. He saves her. There's a haunted house. They go to the house because they need to call somebody, and bad things happen. So I just started that this week. I've already wrote 5,000 words on it. It makes me happy.
You've
And then I have
inspired
more
me.
to find out. I have a midlife chosen one vampire book that's coming out soon. It's I've never actually said the title of it. I can let this be the what do you call it?
Title
Exclusive.
debut. Oh, exclusive, yes.
Exclusive. The exclusive. It's called Fighting 40, because there's a girl and she's got 2 kids and she's mumbling because she's having to drive home from a football game. And she runs into this guy. It's kind of like, I call it Scarecrow Mrs. King meets Buffy. I don't know if you've ever seen Scarecrow Mrs. King.
Oh yeah, I love Scarecrow Mrs. King when I was a kid.
You know how they meet, like she's at the train station and he gives her a package? That's how this book starts. Only he runs into her, gives her a package. He's like, keep it safe. She gets home, gets worried that it's like drugs or something. So she opens it. She gets these magical powers that's supposed to belong to the 16-year-old chosen vampire hunter slayer, but she's 40. And it's if she wants to get rid of them or if she's going to embrace this. So that one's going to be a series. It was fun. Let me tell you, that one was fun.
That sounds super fun. That would be what if you asked me, hey, you could wish for anything. I'd be like, let me be a vampire, please.
Right?
Or a vampire hunter one, right?
Right. That was I think it was me living my my 40s fantasy.
I can totally see you as that, the badass vampire hunter. Sorry, I said ass.
Be cool.
Well, when you do your road trip to like Vampire Land, make sure to include me.
Right? That would be fun.
We've talked forever about the Twilight series, and the original Twilight series. Not Twilight. Not what I'm thinking. The Vampire Diaries.
The Vampire Diaries.
Vampire Diaries and L.J. Smith series, which I know we've both read extensively, and it's so weird to me, the dichotomy of how they're so different, but that's okay.
Oh yeah, it's really strange. I like them both. I don't know if I like them both for different reasons. I love the books because I'm a huge Damon Bonnie fan. I like the TV show because I just like TV show, but we ain't getting no Damon and Bonnie in them. So
yeah, I feel the same way about those books. Yeah, I definitely like them, but it's completely different from the series, so you can't even compare them at all.
Oh yeah, there's nothing the same except maybe some names.
Right. Yeah. And part of the fun part for me was to find those little teeny things, those details that they took out of the series and put into the TV show, because it was so, I mean, evil is in Mystic Falls is all we get, right?
Right. Did you were you watching it when it first came out, when it first aired?
No, I've only seen it like since.
Okay. When it first came out, I had already read the books. And when they mentioned Klaus, like the whole Vampire Diary fandom that had read the books was like, ah! Because, he was the big bad in the books. So we were all super excited when they mentioned Klaus, because everything was so different. And then they were like, Klaus is going to show up, and that he was one of the best parts of the show. So it worked out good for him.
Yeah, I read the books after I saw the whole series, so I kind of rewound.
You had the reverse. You're like, oh, it's Klaus.
Yeah. So,
I
well,
love Catherine.
yeah, definitely. I And yeah, so I haven't read them all in the series too. I will admit to that. I'm still going through them. I think I'm on 5 maybe. So I haven't gotten all there, and I haven't like spun off into all the
I didn't
different.
do that. I didn't
Oh, you
spin
didn't
off.
do
I
that.
read the original ones, and that was about it.
Okay, so that's enough.
Yeah. I did read. I got the first one on audio through the library. I think in May, and re-listened to it. It was interesting in a
Yeah,
good
I
way.
thought.
Like, it's really cool to listen to.
Yeah, so I listened to them first. I didn't read it. But I thought the voices sounded eerily like Elena and eerily like Bonnie. So
It
I don't.
was so weird hearing Damon and Stefan with that Italian voice. I
Yes.
could not get over that.
Yeah, that was kind of strange.
Yeah.
Well, so you have okay, tell us the name again of the book coming out in August.
Sally Comes Home.
Sally Comes Home. And is it YA, middle grade,
It's
adult?
YA. Mm-hmm.
YA. Okay.
Yeah.
And then in October, you're going to have the Fighting 40.
I don't know when that one's coming out.
Okay.
It's going to be a series, so I'm trying to decide if I want to have all 3 written before I put the first one out, or if I want to, put it out, kind of gauge, see how it goes, and then write it. I've done it both ways with different series. So I don't know what I want to do with this one yet.
But was there another one that I forgot?
There's one called Rock Never Dies.
Rock Never Dies.
Yeah, and it comes out probably late September.
That sounds perfect, because that's right during football season.
Right, that's true. I think about that. That works.
Definitely. Tell people where they can find you.
I am everywhere, I think. I'm on Instagram. I have to remember my handles. Instagram is Kelly Martin Books, author, one or the other. All the links are on my website at kellymartinbooks.com. That's the main thing. And I'm on TikTok at Kelly Martin Books, and YouTube at Haunted Books with Kelly Martin. Twitter, everything. All the links are there on my website.
We're gonna post this on YouTube, and we're gonna get you over 10,000 subscribers on your.
Oh, I've seen 1,000.
Oh, 1,000. Okay. For some reason, I must have transposed that number. I thought you put 10,000 on there. And
I may have put 10,000, but it's just 1,000.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a goal too. That's a goal.
Over 10,000, yeah.
Because I was like, what is her problem? She's got almost 10,000 subscribers. I was like playing
if I put that down there wrong, people are probably thinking, what is wrong with her?
It's probably my eyesight. But I was like,
no, I probably did it.
Violin player,
No, I feel bad. I hope I didn't do that, because now I've been on YouTube 7 or 8 years, 6 or 7. And yeah, I'm still at 956, I think, last I looked. And I used to post very, consistently. And I've started to get back more into that. But I've never really found my niche on YouTube. But I think I'm finding it on TikTok.
Fun. I like TikTok too. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's really fun. So, and I don't know. But yeah, over 1,000 would be fun. It'd be cool.
Is there a horror talk?
There is. There is a horror talk. There's a horror talk and a paranormal talk, and there's a ghost hunting talk, and there's a lot of it. There's a lot of talks.
Yeah, I haven't tapped into all of them, obviously, but I'm gonna be there now. So
yeah, there's a lot of fun ones.
Very cool. Well, thank you so much for being here, and we will shout out the exclusive title reveal so everyone will come listen.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
We'll chat again soon.
Bye.
Bye.